A big part of landscape photography is preparation and watching the weather. And at the moment, it's springtime here in New Zealand, but there is a huge snowstorm making its way up the South Island tonight and tomorrow morning. So whenever this happens, I start to conjure up a bit of a game plan. So the game plan for us is at 4 AM, we're gonna go pick up my buddies, Ben and Michael. They're currently visiting Fiordland, and I figured, hey, why not send them off on a high note and hopefully get up high as this snow is coming down. We want to get up into the forest to hopefully capture a beautiful alpine environment of mountains, forest, and of course, the fresh snow. I'm going to share some tips along the way, some of the potential challenges that we might have to overcome, and then hopefully some new images for the portfolio. Let's go. What do you reckon? All right? We're going to keep walking up. Let's go. Oh, look at that light with those peaks there. So we're just pushing on to that magical forest. You might have seen it in some of the earlier videos. We'll get up there for that fresh snow, but obviously the light is just, oh, look at that with those tarns there, straight towards those peaks. Oh, glorious. Look at this tree. Oh, the boys are shooting the tarn down there for the reflection. I've just been drawn to this. We haven't even got to our forest, but the plastering of snow, man, look at that. Wow. You know, when the landscape is just this incredible, it's just so important to slow yourself down. Don't get overwhelmed. There's no point taking dozens of average photos. Slow down and just find the thing that really speaks to you. In a landscape like this with this snow, the latitude here, the sun does move relatively slow, so it's definitely no rush. Once you rush, that's when the problems will begin. I'm just shooting at f11, ISO 100, 30th of a second, exposing for the highlights, but the scene is so bright anyway. Wow. All right, into the forest. Oh man, all the icicles coming down off them. Oh. Gets ballistic.
Oh my god. Get that in your video.
You remember that first time I come up here with my son and found these beautiful trees, and I said it'll be good in rain, atmosphere or snow. Well, here we go. Ooh, that's cold. Ooh. Look at the icicles. Oh, incredible. The snow coverage is beyond what you could hope for. Any more and it would, the trees would come down. Look at that. Whoa. Wow. The boys are gonna lose their minds. Woo! While the light is still warm and soft on the cloud, I'm gonna just spend a few minutes with the mountain views. Just see what I can find. Because the forest doesn't need this low light, obviously. That'll be fine later on regardless. Better off utilising the light now for the peaks. The bigger scene. Just going wide. Fingers are freezing, I need to get the gloves on. We're pretty exposed up here now to the south. But look at this perspective here. I just love the grass is just poking through and they're just caked with that beautiful snow and frost. And yeah, at the moment just going for the real wide perspective with the mountain in the back. Incredible. Bit of focus bracketing there, focus stacking. Oh, wow. You almost want to cry at the beauty. It's starting to come down and get the snowfall. Actually, this wide angle doesn't go too well. 12 to 24. So yeah, keeping the lens clean. This is the challenge in these conditions now, unfortunately. Oh, look at it, boys. Woo! Gonna have to put my back to it. That way it'll help preserve the lens. All right, now it's a composition maker. It's cleaning up the scene. These little squalls are really helping just simplify everything because it whites it all out. The sun has just made its triumphant arrival and now everything looks different again. It's going to present its own challenges but some unique opportunities as well, so I'll be looking for that side light just gently illuminating the moss, some icicles. Let's have a look. Now that it's dried off, I've gone back to the ultra wide 12 to 24. It's a really fun perspective here because you can pick up the top of the trees, the tops that are covered in all the snow, like porcelain up there.
Like, it's just the most incredible
Yeah.
landscape photography conditions I've ever honestly.
There we go, you heard it here first. That's the intro to the movie.
I've never seen such incredible combination of conditions between snow, light, atmosphere,
Mountains,
subject
forest, yeah, everything.
all in one
company.
hit.
Yeah, and the company. Yeah.
Could do it.
All of that, trying to like keep relatively calm as to like see the things that I would normally notice.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to going, oh, what's the most obvious thing?
I was actively telling myself to calm down.
Yeah.
Speaking out loud, being, all right, slow down, calm down, Ben. Because otherwise I just would have gone into that, headless chicken mode.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed that bit of footage there. Unfortunately, I couldn't get too much dialogue because me and the boys were just spread out and we just got completely absorbed by what was going on. And that's the ideal scenario, right? Just completely connected with what's in front of you. So I was glad I could get some footage out of it anyway to share the experience with you. One of the more enjoyable things about this shoot for me was the challenge. I remember being out there just thinking, this is some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever looked at, these conditions, the trees just covered in that snow like that, but so challenging at the same time. And I think you do reach a point with your photography where you're looking for those challenges. You want to be pushed creatively. You don't want the image just completely spoon-fed to you. The forest is one of those environments which will always do that. And then you factor in something like snow, which really just creates a different dynamic with the tonal range and everything. And then that shifting sunlight. And to me, it's almost as hard as it gets. One of my main pieces of advice is, after you've had an enjoyable time out in the field with your camera, I try not to look at the images too quickly. I find if you pull the images up straight away, you'll probably be a little bit disappointed because nothing will rival that fresh emotion that you're still holding from the experience. If you give it a week or so and just let the emotion come down a bit, then when you look at the images, you can be a little bit more objective and you're not going to be too emotionally attached either way, and you can really see in the files exactly what's there. I know for me, looking through the images itself and just composing out in the field and speaking with the guys, one of the big challenges was with composition in this particular area and forests in general is you don't always have an obvious main subject. So doing the mountain vista, there's obviously a nice main subject with a peak or peaks in the background, and then you build your composition around that. When it comes to a complex forest scene, you don't often just have that one single focal point. You really might have a variety of different focal points. So now you're looking for a way to just make the eye flow organically through the frame, potentially not ending up on one particular point in general. But if you look at a lot of the images that we created, a strong theme here is balance, balancing out the big obvious shapes and using that balance to help flow the eye or keep the eye drifting towards typically that centralized zone and not floating off to the corners. That's really one of my main pieces of advice. So if you find yourself in a scenario like that, think about balance. Composition is all about big shapes and aligning those shapes in the right areas and typically using certain shapes that have a specific tone. So often I was trying to just incorporate slightly darker edges and then leading the eye towards the center where I was hoping to get light in some of these cases. When it comes to the post-processing, it's that classic tip that I've been talking about. If you look at the channel and some of the previous processing videos, it's all about creating separation, which is really hard in the forest. One of my main ways to do that is by adjusting the tonal range and making sure that anything that is further off in the distance has less contrast, less of a tonal range, so the darks are not as dark back there, and then that helps create the illusion of depth and separation. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. This was just such a fun time out in the field. I'm just glad I was able to get a bit of video footage to accompany it, and extra glad to get a few images to keep, because I got to admit, after the shoot, wasn't entirely sure what was on that memory card. I was just so much in the flow state that I was shooting and I was never actually thinking, yes, this is the shot. It was just kind of enjoying it, watching, using the camera and just progressing through for a few hours there. So yeah, a really great time. Great to share it with friends and share this location with them. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I look forward to seeing you next week in the next video.